Hello, this is Killican, and this is supposed to be Women's Month, which I'm totally down for because I adore women. I intend to get married one day, I love my mom, I go to the Marvel movies and root for Black Widow and Scarlet Witch. Heck, my religion only has entire prayers dedicated to asking the Mother of God to put in a good word for us. But alas, this celebratory month of the fair sex seems to be more about berating men for not voting Democrat, complete with raging rants and barrages of bad words at those pants wearers with the audacity to voice objections to the slaughter of helpless children whose only crime is being temporarily trapped inside a woman's body. Granted, people are allowed to disagree. We're not communists after all, but do they really think this is good leadership? They do if Hollywood is an accurate portrayal of feminism. From the grouchy, grumbly Gran Torino Clint Eastwood-esque Sarah Connor in Terminator Dark Fate, to the short-haired, short-tempered, racist Mary Sue heroine of Star Trek Discovery, who is so woke that she has a boy's name and commits an act of mutiny in the first episode, and by some miracle gets away with it. Although she did turn out to be right, as Mary Sue's are written to be, any naval officer who pulled that crap in real life would have at least been denied her own command, if not court-martialed, found guilty of mutiny, and drummed right out of the service. But of course, rules don't apply to feminists. Just from that one episode, she doesn't seem that good of a leader. She has little interest in what anyone else says, especially male characters, who from what I've heard tend to get abruptly killed off without even so much as the day-gum common Star Trek courtesy of a red shirt. Speaking of which, the same charge could be leveled at a supporting character in the more recent and superior Star Trek Picard. In her few appearances, Admiral Kristen Clancy has proven herself to be ill-tempered and unreasonable, dropping the first ever F-bomb I have ever heard in Star Trek. Furiously berating her former commanding officer for daring to publicly disagree with Starfleet, ignoring his legitimate concerns, and mocking him as a washed-out old man who's just desperate to be significant again. Come to think of it, that does seem to be feminists' go-to rebuke for any man who dares speak up in opposition or say something they don't want to hear. For another example, the upcoming Bond film is boasting a black female beauty as Bond's replacement for the title 007, after he retired at the end of Spectre, which really wouldn't be a bad thing, except that the trailer features her constantly threatening and talking down on Bond, telling him how washed out he is and belittling him for injuries he sustained in the line of duty when he was, saving the flipping world. If anyone in Hollywood had ever actually read Fleming's novels, they'd realize the double O's are pooled from British Royal Navy intelligence officers, professional military who should have some professional deference for their fellow officers, or at least offer some respect for each other's past accomplishments. You think Chris Kyle or Marcus Luttrell would visit elderly World War II veterans at a Memorial Day ceremony and smugly tell them what losers and has-beens they are? No! Feminists don't seem to get that leadership is more than just barking orders and being generally unpleasant. Like they're worried that they won't be taken seriously unless they roar like baited bears. Sure, male leaders have had that problem too, but just look at what happened to General Patton when he slapped around a soldier he thought was malingering. Not only was he, a general, forced to apologize to a lowly private, but he was removed from his command and spent months with his stomach in knots about his career. Even a military genius like General Patton needed a lesson in humility, and so does feminism. Another reoccurring feminist trend I've noticed lately is feminism's insulting and demeaning attitude towards women of more traditional behavior, such as women who get married and become mothers. What's the old saying? A well-behaved woman seldom makes history? Yeah, right, try telling that to the well-behaved women who gave birth to the likes of FDR, Abraham Lincoln, and George Washington. Who else would have stood up to the likes of Hitler and Tojo but the man who wouldn't back down to polio? How much longer do you think slavery would have lasted without that stubborn Kentuckian to draw the line? You think anybody on this continent would have had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness with double-dealing megalomaniacs like Charles Lee and Horatio Gates in charge of the Continental Army? I think not. And if you don't know any of the famous names I just mentioned, you're dead to me. Read a history book, preferably one not written by Howard Zinn. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and share. Don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to comment if you want to, and peace out.